you just reminded me. Yes, it is G Quooks Day, but it's also time for another stream. Hello, Joel.
Hey, Brian.
We were just talking a little bit before we were live here today. You just got back from the wilderness.
Yeah, some buddies of ours, some of them who've been on the podcast, we went camping. Last time we tried to do this trip, there was a fire, and we couldn't go. I thought it'd be too smoky, especially for me. I have breathing problems, so I was like, nope. But we finally did it. We went to this place called Myers Flat in California, and had a lot of fun. Did some hikes, went in a river, a lot of jokes, played Secret Hitler. Someone brought out a prop gun, and we were all like, "What the fuck?" And yeah, like it's like put the orange tip on, you dumbass. But anyway, it was a lot of fun, and I haven't been camping in a while, like literally 10 years ago in Yosemite. So that was cool.
Oh, damn. Okay. Cool. Glad you
Brian
guys
was
had a
holding
good
down the
time.
fort, though. Brian was telling me he's doing something special. Why don't you let our viewers know?
So, yeah, while you were out getting in touch with Mother Nature, touching grass as you should, as everybody should, that's on the internet. I had the pleasure of being on a Kind of Funny Best Friends podcast called The Download Queue. It's Badlands Backlogs, aka Jocko, and it's buddy Kyle doing real cool stuff over there in the podcast realm, and they invited me to be a part of their Xbox predictions podcast for the Summer Game Fest season's coming upon us. We're going to be getting a whole bunch of video game presentations in the month of June and just throughout the summer, and so we had a little fun, predicting some likely things, some out of the box things, some very hype things. So go check it out. It's on Badlands Backlogs on YouTube, and the show is The Download Queue. You can go check it out right now. Tell them that we sent you. Tell them that the nerds say hi.
Brian, did you theorize the game we've been wanting for years? Did you say T3? Did it come up? Did someone say
it? Indirectly, we were talking. We were talking about Banjo-Kazooie, and I likened it to Titanfall 3 because I do not want my hopes given up anymore. I keep hearing news. I keep hearing news about Banjo. I keep hearing news about Titanfall 3. I don't want to hear anything unless if it's like concrete fact is happening, is not happening. I just need to know. I don't want to hear speculation anymore. That's my opinion about it. But no, we had some really cool conversations. So be sure to check it out. It is a lot of fun. And one more thing before we kind of dive into the meat of this episode. Joel, we finally did it. We reached 100 followers here on Twitch. That's right. 100 of you nerds have came with us through the years. Some of you from even farther beyond that. But it's cool that you guys believe in this podcast. You guys are here to enjoy, have a good time, be nerdy with us, and we can't thank you enough for getting us to this first big milestone. But Joel, you know what's bigger than that?
G-Quooks is tonight?
Well, G-Quooks, yes.
I mean, I know. I've mentioned it like 3 times in the past 15 minutes of Brian. As you can tell, I'm like,
when one goal is beaten, the next goal is set. So our sights are now set on that smooth, even 200. So
ooh, let's go.
We got to 100. 200 seems easy now. So we appreciate.
We got 67 on TikTok, 55 on YouTube, 100 on Twitch now. There are some cross. There's a Venn diagram of overlap, but hey, there's
for sure.
Keep going up.
Yeah, so we appreciate you, everybody that has been supporting us for these past 4 years. We
Hell yeah.
we really really appreciate it. We are very grateful, very humble. But let's get to that 200. Let's get some more. Let's get even more. Let's double the
I
nerds that can come hang with us.
And let me bring up two things before we get into the meat.
Okay.
Brian, we're gonna really talk about it, but there's two things I want to bring up that I already talked about. One, we're big Gundam fans. G-Clux episodes last week was woo. It was a
Oh
throwback
my god. Yeah.
to Zeta Gundam. A lot was happening, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like for me, they did some crazy shit. We'll of course talk about it when it's done. I just was surprised. I have some theories that I want to run by you too, Brian, that we got to talk about, but like I'm loving it.
It's great.
I mean, maybe tonight will be different. Can do no wrong, at least so far. I mean, of course, there's some things that are like, but typical anime stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, whoa! Last week, I was like, I was waiting for the ramp up, like just like in Witch from Mercury. I was like, okay. I was like, oh, here we go. Like it just, boom. So
What was I saying? It's like we like I can like the first few episodes of this series to be more along of like the Witch from Mercury, how they kind of did it, where it's like you're getting like a little bit of the more lighthearted stuff, and like it's like they're doing this underground fighting thing for like money and stuff. Like
yeah.
but wait until the politics come in. Wait until war comes knocking at the door.
Yeah, and we're getting our second recap episode, so I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I really loved their second episode of like where the what if part happens, and that was like pretty much a recap of like the 1 year war in the original series. So I'm stoked,
Same.
especially after everything that's happened so far.
And I've been really liking just the sprinkling of, characters that in the original we know don't stay around that long, but like seeing what they're
Yeah,
up to in here, even though,
if they're alive,
if they're
there's a
alive,
few that
if they're
still die, but there's some
in
like, oh,
different
you're still
ways.
alive. Oh, fuck.
In different ways.
Yes. Yeah, I still hold a theory that a main character, or supposedly main character who's missing, is someone else, like what he did originally. I don't want to go further, but I'm like, oh, are you this person actually? Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. We're big old
Oh,
Gundam
for sure.
fans.
And I'm sure we'll go like
And
super into it once
oh
it's
yeah,
all said
I'm
and
just gonna be
done.
like fangirling the whole time when we just do the G-Clux episode. It'll just be like, shut up, Joel. Before we go into the one I want to talk about, Brian, you saw Skeleton Crew finally.
I did. I finally caught up. I, hunkered down. I saw the first two episodes when they originally came out, and that was like right before like the holiday season. So the
Yeah.
holidays really kind of threw me for a loop and just kind of, caught me off track. But, now that I have the time, I finally hunkered down, watched all of Skeleton Crew, and it was fun. It was enjoyable. It's what I expected it would be when like people would be saying it's like the Goonies of Star Wars. It's like it definitely
Yeah.
is. Like you have
100%.
a cast of young, child characters like going basically like a fish out of water, just like experiencing the galaxy for the first time, not understanding how the world works, but then also, discovering a big mystery at the same time. And I don't know, I guess it was I don't know if you experienced this when you were watching it, because I kind of like avoided a lot of the talk about Skeleton Crew, so I don't know what people's opinions are on Skeleton Crew that much. But like, it's nice that we get to have this variety of Star Wars nowadays, where it's like you can have
Yeah.
the tonal seriousness of like an Andor, and then you can have like the, I would say modern, but like you have the what you think of Star Wars is with like Ahsoka or Mandalorian, but then you get this like interesting, like more child friendly kind of uplifting like story of Star, and like you get to
Mhm.
see Star Wars in a different way. Like I thought it was super cool that we got to see this like suburban like Star Wars that like we've seen big
Yeah, yeah.
cities, we've seen rural areas, we've seen fucking desert planets with huts that should not be there. In more ways than one. But it was really interesting to see the dynamics of a world untouched by the goings on of the world. Like there's like the adults know kind of what's going on, but it's like nobody really knows exactly what's going on at Aden at all. And then just to kind of see a little bit of a different side of the world. Like you still get a little bit of scum and villainy in there, but you still get like
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Oh my god, K-33 is fucking hilarious, dude. I I think he's played by Nick Frost, I think.
You're talking about SM-33?
Oh, SM-33, sorry.
You're thinking about K2, it's okay.
I keep saying K2 because they're the same kind of droid, but you know what I mean. I mean they're both Imperial enforcers.
I know.
In a way. But 33 was a really fun character that I enjoyed a lot. And yeah, it's just a nice lighthearted show.
Yeah. I want to ask you just two things.
Okay.
One,
yes.
What do you think of the Onyx Cinder?
Dude, I never knew I needed a Star Wars ship to have like a fucking like armor ejection mode until I saw like, because I thought it was like, oh, it's just like a beat up old pirate ship, of course. But then, when you fight when 33 is like, don't press this button. It's like, okay, press the fucking button. Like dire situations, press the button, and then like it just sheds its like disgusting ass armor plating to like basically just become a brand new ship. I thought that was really cool. I would love
really sleek too.
It looked really clean. It's like surprisingly clean for something that was about to be incinerated. But I mean, I'm guessing there's with like a name like the Onyx Cinder, it's kind of like a Phoenix allegory in a way. It's like it's being rebirthed into some like it used to be something else, but now it's being rebirthed for another purpose. In a way,
born for adventure.
All I'm saying is I hope that somewhere down the line, if there is like another kind of like big Starfighter-esque kind of game that you can pilot the Onyx Cinder in, that it has a feature where you can shed its skin as like a getaway tactic.
I think that the Skeleton Crew would be a perfect fit for Outlaws too, or for K-Vest to show up in Skeleton Crew. I think it would be a perfect overlap, honestly. I've been waiting for someone to tell someone who actually would be kind of knowing of both. Because, Outlaws, Scum and Villainy, I think it works, but we'll see what they decide to do.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing, Brian.
Yes.
Did you catch that joke at the end with the gold? And they said, hey, it's not worth dying over gold. You don't want to get smashed by that, or whatever they say. When the ship crashes, there's a bunch of gold, and like, nope, just leave it. So people were making connections online. It's like, oh, who got smashed by gold? Nemec and Andor. I was like a little.
Oh my god, that's right.
I was like, wow, that's a funny like meta reference, So
I didn't put that together. No,
neither did I. I was like, oh my god, for real? Yeah, I was like, whoosh. I was like, oh, of course, get out of there, kid. No. And I know you were telling me before about your thoughts on Jude Law's character.
Yeah, so I don't know about you, but like before the show came out, I was under the interpretation that his character will be like a pirate-esque person that ends up like being softened by these kids, and it's like they get on this grand adventure together. But it's like, no, he's an asshole. He is an asshole he is in it for himself, and he's a piece of shit. And it kind of works. Like,
It does, honestly.
I wasn't expecting it, and it was kind of like nice, like, oh no, he is like a true pirate asshole. He's gonna take advantage of the kids. He's gonna use them to get what he wants and figure it out. And he is not gonna be, sorry about it. He's gonna just do what he has to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have liked a little bit of explanation, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad that they kind of
Yeah.
left it ambiguous as like,
Yeah.
was he a Jedi? Is he just somebody that like found out he had force powers and he just worked on it for his own benefit? They never really went that far to explain it, but I think that makes it better because it's like it makes him more ambiguous and more mysterious. Yeah.
At the time, they were saying, like, the creators and showrunners, like, they did want to do that. They're like, let's keep the mystery. Maybe we'll in season 2. And again, like, I know I said it for Outlaws. I think they could show up for Ahsoka as well, or the big super movie they're working on with Mandalorian, Skeleton Crew, or whatever. I
I'm
think
sure they will.
They could pull an MCU, have them all fucking show up. Come on, I mean, you have like Mando. He's a little serious, kind of lighthearted. You have Ahsoka, it's kind of like the magic and and stuff, a little more serious tonally too. And then you have the cute little kids and stuff. And it'll be kind of funny. Just like, oh, this is sick. And they're like, holy shit, zombies! Like it's like the kids are like, what the hell? Like, what is this? Who's this blue guy? Who's this blue guy? But yeah, yeah. I like you're saying, it just totally like. I feel like it captures what Star Wars was in the beginning, like a fun adventure. It's made for kids, but there's still some mystery, right? Like Dave Filoni, like thinking about it when he was little, like, oh, the Clone Wars, what's that? And I just think Skeleton Crew just caught it well. At least in my corner of where I look and stuff, and my algorithm, like, I don't see hate for Skeleton Crew. Maybe because people are like,
good.
oh, their kids don't fucking mess with them.
That hasn't stopped people before, so
no, but I was just like, if there was, I may have like blocked it and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as opposed to like Acolyte, where people are like out of their fucking minds for that show. But it seems people were like, let's just be nice to these kids and the show. And it's like,
good.
That's cool. You should do that for all the fucking shows. But okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am excited to see how, if they get implemented in like the whole big epic like showdown with Thrawn is concerned, if they are involved. Because I mean, if anything, the through line is that the New Republic has an idea about like everything here. And it's like I feel like if everything the New Republic touches like will be involved somehow. So I don't know.
I don't know either.
But
oh my god. It's not what if Starkiller base blew up at fuck.
Well, what quadrant was it in? That's a big question.
Good. Glad you liked it. I've been wanting more people to like watch it and talk about it too. It's just a fun time.
I will make this announcement to the world, or wherever I watch this. Do not dare speak bad about my sweet, sweet little child Neil. That sweet elephant boy must be protected at all costs. He is a treasure, and he needs to be treated as such. He is as valuable, if not even more, than the Old Republic gold hiding in fucking the depths of Atten.
They all did well. Like I was like, this is they're having fun. We're having fun. This is great. Like that, as far as I'm concerned. All right.
Although,
enough with the fun. All right, well, go ahead.
I just wanted to make this, not make this point, but I want to ask you, like, was it weird the lack of how much we did not see Neil's dad?
That's funny.
Like all the other parents were involved except for Neil's dad.
I don't know. Probably cost too much to CGI, but yeah,
those tusks were expensive.
Yeah, but I think it was more like from his mom, like maternally, like she was concerned,
Mhm.
or maybe there's a reason. We'll
I guess
find out.
somebody had to watch the young ones.
Oh yeah, yeah. The fucking bubble bath they did every fucking night. Bubble time. We're under attack. Bubbles. Shit. All right. Yeah.
All
Good time.
right. All right.
One more thing, and I promise we'll get
All
into
right.
what we're here for.
Go for it.
Andor finished. I don't think if I haven't praised it, I just want to make sure I do. It was I like I was telling Brian, I was telling my wife, I can't stop thinking about it. Like I just was blown away, and I just the ending. I'm still, man, it's like perfect storm of angst and rebellion, and I'm not gonna say anymore because Brian hasn't finished it yet. But goddamn, like I am.
I mean,
Oh.
it must be good because it's one of the main reasons people are saying that they got back onto Battlefront 2.
I was just telling my wife about that too. Like, I think there's a surge with Battlefront 2, but it might have been Andor. Just people like feeling it, you know? Like it just
Maybe. I mean, I kept giving like little progress updates throughout the weekend, but they keep smashing their all-time concurrent player records. Like it started like what was it on Steam before this happened? It was like a little over 10,000, and then like
it's not that bad.
Friday night was like 11, and then it hit like 16,000, and then like just the other day it hit like 17 something, and then someone did the math for like overall, like including all the consoles, all the SKUs, it's like
Hmm.
they broke 300,000 concurrent players this past weekend,
Fuck.
which
I don't
is
think it's been that much since launch.
no.
Shit.
So it's cool. Like it's cool for an almost 10-year-old game to get like it's been like 8 years since it released in 2017.
Mhm.
So it's just like it's awesome that people are actually playing this game, and not even like old players, but like new players are playing this. Like I played a little bit this weekend, and I came across some fucking like green and gray boost card players, dude. Like there were some like
Fuck.
fresh ass faces, but I mean,
I'm doing my part.
exactly. Like all of this is stemming from people wanting a Battlefront 3, and if Endor is what kicked it off, I mean, fuck, dude, we need another Battlefront so we can get all of this new Star Wars stuff into the game.
I was just thinking that too, like with Andor and Skeleton Crew and Acolyte. Like
Ahsoka, Bad
there's so
Batch,
much Mando. It's so much content now. You can't say like Star Wars doesn't
and
have something for someone now, you know?
and that's not to mention all of the stuff that they were gonna do for 2 and canceled because they gave up on it, or it's just wasn't the time. We were supposed to get like so many more characters. We're supposed to get Ahsoka, Ventress, Mace Windu. We are supposed to get all of the Rogue One stuff that we got in the first one. Excuse
I
me,
am so
coming back.
surprised they never followed through with that. Like, as much I shit on Battlefront 1, the new one, a lot, the 40-minute wait times for a match, but that Rogue One DLC was something else. It was really cool, and at least at the time,
Yeah,
it felt pretty good. You know, going in, flying with the U-wing, landing on Scarif, all that. It was dope.
yeah. So hopefully, people stay strong, have fun, play.
Yeah, people even
Chol,
been like, I made a Helldivers post, and people are like, Battlefront 3. And I'm like, where the fuck is this coming from? And then they're like, whatever. And then I was like, okay. And then like you were talking about it, and then I was like, oh, well, duh. Now it makes
it's
sense.
here. The movement is
It's
here. Everybody got tired of fighting Illuminate. They want to fight, battle droids and stormtroopers.
and Imperials and rebels and shit.
They want to get
But yeah,
clowned on by Kylo Ren.
yeah, yeah. Andor, I'm still thinking about like every day. I'm forever changed. Like I never wanted a Empire tattoo, but that first ship they show, and it's just
Oh,
so sick, and I just yeah, and what the the circumstances of everything. Oh man, and of course, we watched Rogue One right after, and it hits just a little bit different now. It hits even more. Rogue One, I fucking love that movie, and there's even more context. It's crazy. I didn't think they could honestly make a good thing better, and they have. Just like with all these shows, like they just enhance and expand the universe and make it better. And I can't wait for more shit to do that for the sequels. Like we've got it for the prequels, we've got it for the originals, and we're getting like a sequel book soon. And I just hope there's gonna be more content. I'm super excited. But all right.
Well,
we could talk Star Wars all day unless you want to add one more thing. But I know where we're going. We're going to a galaxy not so far
we
away soon. So.
we've talked about Star Wars a lot throughout the years. We're going to be talking about it way more. Let's
When we're
shelve
at
that.
fucking 70 probably.
Probably.
When they reboot A New Hope for the 5th time.
God, no. Let's put that aside for now, and let us talk about Last of Us Season 2, episodes 4 through 7. We talked about episodes 1 through 3 last time. And I guess for anybody that's watching this right now, I did isolate our conversation about The Last of Us. So if you want to just go directly to that, there is a video on our YouTube right now that is just our Last of Us.
Today.
Just put it live today. So you can go check that out and probably do the same for this as well down the road. But Joel, finale this past weekend, we are officially done with season 2. I want to get your thoughts about season 2, and since I know it's going to be hard to skirt around this, I'm going to give everybody here the warning. This is the warning. We're going into full spoiler territory. No, where's my logo? Oh no.
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
Well, here. I said that we were in a spoiler warning, so until I can get our little spoiler tag up here, Joel, I want to pitch it to you. What, how, when are you feeling with Last of Us Season 2?
Brian, I'm gonna be honest. I love it. I just Andor shadows and towers over it in my mind. I love it, but I was not thinking about Last of Us today, if I'm being honest. I still was thinking about Andor. But with that, I do want to acknowledge that I think they did a great job following the game and still kind of doing their own thing. I think episodes 1 through 3 were pretty strong. Some of the changes were a little like, okay, I get it. It's for time. You have to kind of move the story along. But yeah, these last few episodes were still pretty good. And this last episode, the season finale, I was just like, yep, here we go. Yep. Oh, yep. Okay. There was some change, like we'll talk more about, I know soon because you're setting it up, but like what they did with Eugene, they did with Jesse, they gave him a little more flavor. Ellie really confronting Joel and the spaceship scene. It just good stuff.
Done so well.
Yeah,
the spaceship scene.
It was fun. It felt like how it did in the game. It was like, this is a fun moment and memory, and she was still a kid, and then she grew up into this shitty world.
Yeah.
And it's spoiler for the game. So if you don't know, this does tie into the show. Just a quick note. There is a switch of characters, and you see another perspective. And I was wondering when we were going to get it, but I think they did it appropriately too. When we switched from instead of like going with Ellie to Abby, I feel like it was good.
I felt like that's what they're gonna do. They were gonna do, because I was thinking about it more, like after watching the finale, and it's like it makes sense that all of Ellie's stuff can kind of get put through all of season 2, because I feel like if you're comparing both sides of like the game, like I feel like Abby had more going on. in her side of the story.
Yeah, it's a shit show.
Because just kind of lightly playing through it again as the show went along, besides some of the major plot points for Ellie's side of the game, a lot of it is like more open, free flowing, kind of like go anywhere in Seattle and like kind of like find little side things that you could do. And then it's not until you start getting through like some of the main plot points, then you kind of find yourself finishing up with Ellie a lot quicker than I remember finishing up with Abby. So I won't be surprised if a majority of season 3 is Abby stuff, and it might even bleed over into, if what they're saying is true and it is going to be a season 4, that it'll bleed over into that, and then we start getting back into like the mix of both of them simultaneously. But for season 2, I agree. There were some interesting decisions that they made. Some of them I think were more interesting. I think I prefer them than the game. Some other ones was I can understand why they did it, just because of the structure that they built off of season 1, and then also just as you're saying, like the constraint of time that they had. And there were some things where I just kind of looked at it and I was like, I don't know if I needed that. I don't know if it was necessary, but we can kind of go through all of them beat by beat. So Joel, you mentioned Eugene first.
Do you want to like go into that, or you want to kind of go by episode? I think 4 touches on something I do want to talk about, and then we can kind of move like slowly to that. That is a big beat, though. I just want to say, learning about Isaac Dixon, played by Jeffrey Wright, who of course kills it because he's great, was cool because we get to see kind of behind the scenes his thought process and how he works. And, you know, a lot of these characters do the same thing, but different ways and, you know, and intentions, right? We see Isaac kind of, you know, he's torturing someone because he hates them or whatever, or he wants them to talk because what they did to his people. And then later that'll kind of lead into what Ellie will do to someone else. Like, oh, she's kind of torturing someone, but she wants something, you know, she wants information still. She still wants that from someone. And, you know, I think the fate of both is pretty terrible. And we get this kind of side character too, who's like, he saw Isaac take out his whole company, and he was like, "Oh, I'm loyal to the bone now." And later we see him like, "Oh, we're gonna torture these guys because we fucking hate them," or whatever. And it's interesting to see like the highest high and the lowest foot soldier, and like the cult. It's also still like the duality. Like there's a cult. WLF is a cult. So are the Seraphites, and we just see like the both ends of that.
And I know some people are iffy about it, but I think one of the cool things that they do for the show is that they start every episode with either a very far flashback, or just like, you know, something that is going to touch on what's going to happen in this episode. And especially with that one, as you're mentioning, because like we see Isaac and his like platoon back when he was with Fedra. And it's like they're going into a zone because they're going to be fighting a lot of like resistance fighters. And it starts off with, also, by the way, Josh Peck,
right?
Doing a little cameo, right? Playing a Fedra soldier that is just like, you know, doing, you know, talking with the boys kind of thing, and like making a joke about, you know, making fun of like the people that they kind of boss around and like calling them voteless, and not really remembering why. And then Isaac of course pops up, and it's like, it's because we took their rights away. It's like we took their power to be people away, and we call them that to make fun of them, like to their face. And it's like you could tell that he's like so grizzled and so done and so over it, to have him, you know, basically betray his unit and then like join the freedom fighters who will become the WLF. It's just like interesting where he starts off rejecting the doctrine of a force that's supposed to be there for good, but is actually doing harm
Yeah.
to the people of
Yeah.
Seattle, and then joins the group that was supposed to liberate the people of Seattle, and then ends up becoming the force that is again like bringing harm to people that aren't within their group, which is why I think it was so interesting because a few things they changed. The Seraphites, they didn't really change the Seraphites so much, but they changed how they're perceived at first. Because in the game, the first time we see Seraphites is they're attacking Ellie. Like they are the aggressors. They are another faction that is also endangering Ellie
Yeah.
in Seattle. But the first time we see the Seraphites in the show, we see them as a group of, wayward, like, yeah, they're still in the cult, but like they're wayward people just trying to run away from danger. And the next we see them, they get all murdered. And so it kind of changes that perspective, which I think is what they're going for, because the whole idea is like, who's right and who's wrong. It's all based on your perspective.
Yeah.
Just like in the game,
And
your perspective is that WLF and Seraphites are both evil, bad units, but it's like, are they? Like they do really bad things, yes, but it's like they're all at the same time, they are still trying to survive at the same time.
yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Only thing left I'll talk about this episode is we get the reveal of Dina finds out that Ellie's immune, and there's a cool like underground sequence when they're escaping the WLF, and like it's like it's like a horror movie. They're trying to get through in the train, they're trying to escape, and Dina doesn't know that Ellie's immune, almost like shoots her, and then they fall madly in love, and it kind of like goes from there. A good episode, honestly. Kind of setting up a lot more.
It's a
good
good episode, which has surprisingly gotten some of the most flack online.
Yeah,
and I can kind of see where people are coming from, but at the same time, I think it's kind of weird that this is what they're harping on. And I think I understand what the disconnect is a little bit, because there's a difference between just like not agreeing with like the writing and like the direction of the show is. That's one thing, but I think what for a majority of the people that are critiquing or like commenting about what's happening in the show, are directly comparing the game to the show. And it's fair because it is an adaptation, but at the same time is an adaptation. It's not going to be the exact same. And so what happened in the game doesn't necessarily work for where they are in the show. And it can go back to time constraints, or maybe a thing they wanted to get through stuff that they wanted to get hit the hammer on the head with, or whatever the euphemism is. But like for comparison, when Ellie and Dina kind of like trade information, it's like, oh, I'm immune, oh, I'm pregnant. In the game, that doesn't happen for a little until after some stuff already happens in the game. And at that point, let's just say, for example, when Dina tells Ellie that she's pregnant, right? In the game, Ellie gets mad, calls her a liability. And it makes sense within that thing, because Ellie's already in it, right? And so now she's seeing a problem. Where in the show, they just got to Seattle. They just ran into like their first problem, but like they haven't really done anything yet. So it makes sense to Ellie not be super uptight and mad. Like I don't know. It's just there's a lot of discourse online that a lot of it is like unuseful, and it's just like you should be pushed aside. But then there are conversations that it wasn't like effective or not. I guess it depends on the person, but I thought like that it was pretty effective because not only do you kill two birds with one stone, but at the same time, it's like, let me ask you this question before I kind of get lost in the sauce. What do you feel about the characterizations of Dina and Jesse between the game and the show?
I say this now with the knowledge of the season being done. I honestly like the direction they're taking, and I think they did pretty well. But that's me knowing, like you said, it's an adaptation. It's not supposed to be one-to-one. Ellie in the game is very different from Ellie in the show, but there is overlap, of course. But I don't know. For me, it's like, also that's with knowledge of where Ellie goes all the way. You know, we know that. My parents who are watching don't know that. My buddy Chris doesn't know what's going to happen, right? And talking to someone like I was yesterday who didn't play the games, I mean, they're really enjoying it. And I think people are forgetting that this show is going to reach out to way more people than just who played the games. And I think the characterization they're picking is to make it accessible to those people.
Right.
And to be honest, I think the characters in the show are a little bit better fleshed out. You may spend 100%. More time with them. You spend more time with Jesse and Dina, Ellie, Abby, and for those who don't know, Lev. But it's they have to be quiet. They have to be in survival mode. We don't get a lot.
It's during gameplay, for the most part.
Yeah. And usually that moment is lost by violence because it's just that kind of game, It's like, oh no, like literally, like you have this peaceful moment and then it's like gone. And I want to talk about it later, but some of these characters are getting like, it's like, oh, we never knew that.
They're getting substance.
Didn't get that in the games, exactly. And I really like that. I think people, it's weird. It's seeing like hearing before, like, we hate this fucking game, to now, like, we love the game. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's funny.
It's such a weird.
That's interesting.
Right? Because I just remember the time, like, this isn't realistic. This isn't. Oh my God, people. It's a game. Now it's like, oh my God, people. It's just the adaptation. Like, it's just a weird new monster. I don't know. What do you think, Brian?
Like, I 100% agree. I think that the characterizations in the show are, I still love the characters in the game. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love the game. But I feel like the characters are so much more fleshed out. Because some of the arguments I've seen, just like scrolling through like TikTok and like Instagram and whatnot, is like some of the arguments are, it's like they got the characters all wrong. It's like the characters were not like this in the game. It's like, yeah, because the characters were kind of one note, because one, you had Dina was like, okay, Ellie, I'll go with you. Yeah, it's like, exactly. I'll follow you. And then Jesse was like, oh, you wouldn't leave me out, would you? And it's like, what the fuck? It's like, Jesse was like almost nothing character in the game. Like, all you knew about him, that he was Dina's ex-boyfriend, was going to be Dina's baby daddy, and then came to help you out. And then spoiler warning, he fucking dies. There's not that much character there. He's still cool. He's still a bro, but he's not
still
there.
A homie for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's not a game about Jesse. It's not a game about. I mean,
exactly.
It's a game about Dina in some ways, but it's a game about Ellie and Abby, and we're getting more time with other people, which is
exactly good. Like, you get to see, like, Jesse, like, he was a member of Jackson. After the attack, he had to step up and become a leader in Jackson. Mm-hmm. Like, he has to worry about the people of the town that he cares about. Mm-hmm. And I what did I say? The last time we talked about the series, when they did the vote at the city council meeting, and I was like, just the way that Jesse was looking, I bet you he vote no. And what did we find out in the finale of the show? He voted no because he knew it was a bad idea. Which we never got in the games. Never, because he didn't have much to do in the game except be your sidekick.
Just being a homie. Yeah.
Just being a homie.
It was great seeing him. It's like, oh shit, Jesse's here to rescue. This makes sense. And now it's like, Jesse is here for your rescue, and he's trying to try to teach you something. You know,
and it's so weird that they say that like Jesse is like being super aggressive towards Ellie, and it's like, well, yeah, because you'd be upset when your friend is doing something stupid, but at the same time, you are going to help them because they are your friend, but you're hoping that you can actually like teach them something. Like said, like he is, and then we get the moments throughout the episode of the finale where it's like they're arguing about their perspectives, and you know, to each other their perspectives are true and they're right, and there's no making one better than the other because there's going to be certain sacrifices, like, you know, the Seraphite kid that got captured, you know, Ellie wanted to save him because that's what Ellie does. She just goes headstrong into danger and like tries to help people she thinks is being wrong. But Jesse had the viewpoint of, I am the leader. I need to make sure that we get out alive, especially because now I'm going to be a dad. I'm going to have to raise a kid. It's like, I can't die. Oops. Sorry.
We'll talk about that too.
We'll talk about that too. But just to kind of finish this thought. He
has a lot on his plate. Like Ellie's thinking about
herself.
He's still on the revenge trip. And herself. And
she's thinking about what she wants.
Yeah. And Jesse's like, this is what we need, you know?
Yeah. And then to go off of Dina, okay. Because this one's a little bit more tricky. Because in the game, you know, Dina is also still a really cool character. But why I kind of like the show one more is because I feel like Dina in the game, now with like, in hindsight, just like kind of looking at it now, like comparing the two, it's like Dina's purpose there was to be, you know, to back up Ellie, to, you know, be the one that's like, oh, Ellie, I'll go with you. It's like, I'll stick by you. It's like, I'll do, you know, I'll go on this journey with you. And just even like with the whole pregnancy thing, like in the game, like Dina announces that she's pregnant, and then she gets sidelined.
Yeah.
Because then Jesse comes up, and then now Jesse's your partner, or Ellie is on her own. But Dina's like out of the picture. I mean, not really, because she's still there. But like she's not as useful as she was. But in the show, like Dina announces she's pregnant. Okay, cool. I'm still going to ride with you. It's like, we are here together. And I think it's also that change of Dina being the one with Joel instead of Tommy. So Dina has more writing on this because like Joel is like a father figure. It's like, I want revenge just as much as you do, even though she doesn't know all the reasons yet until the end of the season. But
yeah,
like
which is also a difference.
Exactly. That is very true. But this Dina is like more sure of herself. And I think I was talking to my partner about this. I was talking to Alessa about this.
I'm just going to turn on the light. I think it's making it weird.
Okay. I thought it was very strange that the internet got up in arms in episode 3, I believe, when they had the scene in the tent of Ellie and Dina talking, and then Dina's like, well, I'm straight, so I don't know. It's like, I want to ask you how our kiss was because I'm straight. I don't know. You're gay, so you would know better than me. And then everybody on the internet got so up in arms, being like, they made Dina straight. Oh my God, they ruined Dina as a character. And then it's like, bro, just wait one more episode because they're gonna fucking get together. It's kind of like, well, that too, but it's like, that's a big part of like their story is that they are a couple in a relationship. And it's like,
yes, they are.
I think it's valid to have criticisms on how they handled it. Then, that's fine. That's valid. But I think this one's a little bit harder to compare. And I was talking to Les about this. The game takes place where D-Day happened roughly 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
In the show, D-Day takes place in 2003. I don't know about you, but I bet you I mean, a lot of shit is still rough nowadays, don't get me wrong. But in 2003, how open were a lot of people to, being gay? The idea of sexual preferences in 2003. And especially in like the Midwest. I'm not surprised that this version of Dina might have doubts, especially in the next episode. She explained that when she talked to her mom about maybe liking girls, her mom says, "No, you don't." It's like, no, you don't. It's like you have to put that into context. That maybe the reason why Dina thinks that she's straight and is maybe struggling a little bit about coming to terms with her sexuality is because of the time period that they're in. And that people, like, yes, there are people that are very confident in their sexuality even back then, yes. But there are probably a lot of people, especially teenagers, that when they strolled into Seattle, in the district that had all of like the gay pride flags hanged up, and they looked at us like, I wonder what that's about. Maybe they like rainbows or something. I don't know. Have no fucking idea what gay pride is. So it was very easy to me to be like, oh, maybe she's questioning her sexuality like a lot of young people do.
And old people. Some people keep it a secret to the grave. Everybody on the deathbed, like, I loved you, but really, I liked men or women. Like it's like, still not.
Just look at the documentary that just came out about Pee Wee Herman. I had no fucking idea he was gay. Nobody did, or probably almost nobody did. So it's like it still goes to show. It's like not everybody's experience with their sexuality is so like up front and center. Like, there are still people that are going to be struggling with that. So it was just such an interesting thing for the internet to get up in arms about, especially at the next episode. Like, they literally consummate the relationship for real.
So which I have a problem with, but
that was another thing. It's like, Ellie would never do that. And it's like, well, this Ellie had like basically the person that they fucking love, like, hook up with them. So they just like did the dirty thing, so that they're kind of in a euphoric mode right now. It's like, I think what the disconnect is that maybe the show could do a better job at like making the differences from the game, because I feel like a lot of people that have played the game and are feeling weird about the show is because they're taking into account that all the stuff that they do during gameplay isn't being represented in the show. And that is because all that stuff is filler to get you to the next plot point. And so all the shit that we do, like, people are saying like Ellie isn't as tough or isn't as, violent in the show, is because they're not doing all of the filler killing of random NPCs that they go throughout the fucking game with. Because in the reality of like the story, those guys don't fucking matter. That action does not fucking matter unless if it's tied to a significant point in the show. And like the show does do some of that stuff, like the the building that had the WLF people like hung up and like gutted.
Yeah, that's the next episode, I believe.
Like
Or
that.
is it the same episode?
That is a very like stunning scene, and so of course that would be there because it's very it tells you a lot about what's happening in Seattle. That is very important. But like you running around fucking the streets of Seattle,
Oh, it was this episode.
like you running around the streets of Seattle in the open world doing side quests and stuff, that's just not gonna fucking matter. So yeah, the Ellie in the show is not gonna be as gun ho and as like violent and as rageful as you remember her being, is because she doesn't have to be. Like she still is on a revenge quest. You see, what we see down the line in episode 5, like her sinking into the depths that revenge will take you. Like we get to see that side of Ellie still. It's just more realistic, where it's not going to be 100% all the time. You know, there's still going to be pockets of light, which I don't know, but like I know I've been rambling on a little bit, but I feel like that's very important to show the depths that Ellie is going down, because you still do see those pockets of light in her, but I bet you guarantee by the time the show's ramping down, those pockets are going to be fewer and far between, and to the point where she's just full on gone, where she is going to be.
We know. We know.
And I'll let you say that first, but before I do that, I just want to say, Peter in the chat, hello, Peter. Thank you for popping by and giving a tier 1 subscription for subscribe for 11 months, Peter. We glad that you're here. We hope you're doing well. We are all in on Last of Us Season 2. So if you haven't watched all of it yet, I'm sorry if we spoil it for you. But we'd love to hear what you all what you think if you saw it. We just hope you're doing really good.
Yeah.
Okay, Joel. I know I rambled on Barrett, so I'll let you kind of take the wheel for a little bit.
Oh, I'm just, they went to that build. I forgot to say, like, they went to the radio tower like we do in the game. But yeah, they expedited it. Like, we didn't need them 20 minutes of fighting the WLF in the fucking building with the hanging bodies. I think the only missing thing from the game is that's fucked up is a good moment is we go to the workbench and there's a sneak attack. Like literally they fucked these WLF soldiers. And that fucked me up. And
it made me afraid of benches for the rest of the game.
Right? I know. I was like, this is fucked up. But I iced those fools, but still I was like, oh man. But yeah, okay, but you're right. The rest is filler, honestly. Like, we are getting the important plot points that you should be way more important than killing cordyceps, for 10 hours. But that's just me. But what's cool about the next episode, and this is all going to connect very soon, we get an intro with Isaac and one of his, or maybe not Isaac, but there's an officer talking to one of like Isaac's people, and they're just talking about what they did for the hospital. We didn't get this before. We just know the hospital's infected, but she had to make the executive call, right, to trap her people down there because they just discovered that the cordyceps spores are what turns people. Like, they don't even have to be bitten. And her name is Sergeant Elise Park. She has to make the tough call of sealing her son down there. Yeah. And he is still down there later. And that was fascinating because kind of like before, I was thinking about it last season too, like, they went to, I forgot what Asian country, maybe it was Malaysia, but they were talking to like a specialist who knew about mushrooms. It's like, what do you do if it takes over? And she's like, you destroy them, you bomb them, right? We didn't get that in the game at all. That was just cool insight. And then the same thing again, like, we know that there's, like I almost said walkers. We know there's cordyceps downstairs, but it's like, why are they there? I was like, oh, that's cool. We got a little bit of there's a reason why. And also it can't close down the hospital because they need it, right? So keep this secret that, oh shit, they dive through the spores or they change through the spores, not just through biting. I just thought that was cool.
Yeah. And like they're saying, it's like, is it coming through the vents? No? Cool. Seal the doors.
Yeah.
Don't go down there. No, this is really cool because I know that was one of the changes they had to make because the spores were always something in the games. It wasn't something that was added on later. But it's cool that the season has explored the idea of that the infected and the cordyceps are evolving and changing, like with the addition of the stalkers being there. And oh my god, the scene that we're gonna get up to in this conversation was like very well done. I thought it was made the stalkers very terrifying. But the idea of like, yeah, the cordyceps are evolving to the point where like you can just get infected by breathing the air that they are in is very terrifying. And especially the scene that I don't know if we talk about this now or we wait until we get to it, but like the scene of going down there to seeing what it actually looks like is like very like eerie in a fascinating way.
Yeah, we could talk about it. I think it's important. I mean, we get some backstory with like they find Nora, and Dina talks about how she's gonna ride or die for Ellie because she went through something young, which is important. And I forgot to say before when you're saying Brain, like Dina for sure in the game is like, I'm on board. That's it. In a way, later she's kind of like, I don't want to spoil it, but just like she's like, don't do this, Ellie.
Things change.
Where in the show,
Yeah.
In the show, she's like, I'm gonna do this because I love you and stuff. And there's I'm in it for you, and we're gonna do this. But we do see a slight change when a truthful nugget is revealed, which I think is fascinating. Which it's again just important building blocks, and I think people are forgetting that we need to do that in the show too. That's why these changes are there for time. But yeah, they go, they, as you say, they're rescued by Jesse, because they want to be gung ho. They think they could take out a few cordyceps. Really, it's like a shit ton of stalkers. They make a lot of noise. Jesse comes and saves them, shoots them out. They run from the WLF. It's kind of a mess, honestly. It shows.
Oh yeah.
Like, I like this part of like being different because like you're the Ellie we know in the game. She's like fucking Rambo, you can't stop her. Where this Ellie, like still the same as the other Ellie, headstrong, not thinking going in. And they're gonna run into the Seraphites, and Dina gets shot in the leg. Jesse's like, I
another
gotta bring her back to
change.
safe. Yes, which is interesting. Like we don't usually get that much of a tango with the Seraphites with Ellie, I feel. But
well, what I thought was interesting about that scene is that scene Ellie gets hit with the arrow. Because in the game, Dina's sidelined because she's pregnant. Where in this one, Dina's sidelined because she has an arrow through the fucking leg.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So it's like, I don't know how people keep thinking that this version of Dina is worse than the one. Not saying that the game is worse. They're just two different things, but I feel like she's more fleshed out here because it's like, yeah. And then it adds on to the fact that when they both get separated, Jesse takes Dina back to their hideout in the theater.
Yeah.
But then Ellie eyes that hospital. And she's like...
She knows Nora's there. She makes a selfish choice.
Instead of, making sure that her new girlfriend, who is pregnant and just got shot in the leg by a fucking crossbow bolt.
Yeah.
Is okay. She goes because she is having the revenge boner for Abby and needs to get information. She knows Nora is right there.
It's a knockout.
That's what she's thinking about. But yeah, I just thinking about it now, talking about it, it's like, yeah, she as soon as she knew Nora was there, it was never going to be like, I'm sure if Tina didn't get hit, she was going to try to convince all of them to go. And she's like, no, I have to do it now. And yeah, they actually, I think this next part when she goes to Nora was done pretty much like the game. And it may seem a little fast, but it's only because of time and they need to get somewhere with it, in the game, it's a lot of sneaking and killing and, you solid snake it up.
You work your way to Nora.
Moment when, yeah. And, she makes her way to Nora and then they have to talk and, she's still, you go on a way longer chase for sure. But I mean, we didn't need like 5 minutes or 10 minutes of that. Like they got through. I did think it was interesting just because, it's a show of plot armor. Like you run through, and the WLF is like, "Oh shit, shooter!" Like, I was like, "Oh,
oh fuck!"
Yeah, but they are stopped because it's like, "Oh, we can't go down there. We sealed it off for a reason," which gives us Nora and Ellie together. So
yeah, like I've told you before, I like listening to the podcasts that they make, where it's
yeah,
Troy Baker talks to Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin
yeah,
after each episode of the season. And one thing I didn't notice, I guess, is because like for the character like Nora, it's kind of hard to give her characterization because you only really see her at the beginning
mm-hmm.
when you find her as Ellie, and then a little bit of the stuff when you're Abby. So we don't get to see much of her up until that point playing as Ellie.
Mm-hmm.
But what they did say is that they did tweak that scene just a little bit. So it's mostly the same. But they gave Nora a little bit of, edge to her, just put kind of like when she was talking about Joel and like saying that, like, oh, what happened to him was fucked up, and it kept me up at night, but it was exactly what he deserved. And it just like gave her just a little bit of like, she recognizes that what happened to him was like bad and horrible, but she does not regret it one single bit. And I feel like that gives Ellie even more of a reason to chase her down and do what she does.
Mm-hmm.
But Joel, B2 is all fucked up.
B2?
Yeah, a floor B2.
Oh fuck yeah, yeah. Sorry, I took a minute. I was like, is that a droid? Yeah. Nice little foreshadowing too. For those who know, but yeah, we see Mrs. Park, her son. They are one with the walls. They are, releasing spores out of their mouth. Costume department, that was
part
sick.
of the crew.
Right? Good shit, guys. That was great. But yeah, it's like, oh shit. And in the games, it's kind of cool. I don't know if we'll get that. We might get that with Abby later, but they like eventually can come out of the fucking walls and fuck you up. And I was like, oh, a couple times. So, but they're just in a total state of, we are now a cordyceps or mushroom, and we're just releasing spores.
What?
And this is what we are now. And but Ellie is unaffected, and
like,
she's
oh yeah,
just
it's
like,
just
whoa.
whatever.
And yeah, but for Nora, we see that she's finding out the harsh truth that
Like
hasn't
that.
been shared, that like it's going through her. She's gonna change. She's gonna essentially die, right? And this is one of the parts in the game that fucked me up, because you want information about Abby, and now you're, like we said, she's just seeing red. Nora's about Joel, and she's just gonna she's like, fuck it, I'm gonna get my information the only way, the way Joel did. I'm gonna fuck you up. She's gonna get that pipe and start fucking her up before she dies. And yeah, in the game, I was like, I really don't want to do this, but you don't have a choice. You are beating the shit out of Nora. And we get the segue to the next episode too, with like Ellie wakes up in Wyoming in a flashback. Joel's waking her up for birthday parties and shit. But yeah,
but before we get to that,
they did a good job with this episode overall. It's comparatively to the game, it's solid.
Yeah, and I thought it was a very like the unit that's down there, like all fungled up and stuff like that. It's how they explained it is very interesting, because they're not dead, but they're not all there. It's like they're still alive, but the spores have infected them to the point where they have just become a spore factory, but the human body is not dead yet. So like they're just there in a limbo where it's like they're not completely infected yet, but they have no power or will of their own. They're just gonna be there until their body just like gives up, and then they become the infected that you kind of talked about later on. it's just like a very surreal place, and like Ellie is just walking around there like it's nobody's business, like not a does not care, like just 100% fine. And you kind of brought it up, saying how it's like Ellie needs to get information out of Nora. How does she get information out of her? The only way she knows how is how Joel did it. And so she tries to do that. But I feel one of the interesting explanations that they gave to this, and I kind of like how they're kind of molding this together. It's like throughout the season, what has been like one of the through lines with Ellie is like Ellie does not want to be babied. She does not want to be taken care of. She wants to be the one that takes care of herself and takes care of others, and wants to be in the position where she can do it all, right? And you can probably hazard a guess that she gets a lot of that from Joel, because Joel was like that. He is the one that takes care of business. He's the one that protects. He's the one that does what he needs to do what he thinks is right. The only issue is that she is not Joel. So we saw doing what she did to Nora, and I know we're kind of skipping over a little bit, but when she gets back to the theater, it fucks her up. Like, she does not want to be this. The only person that she wants to kill is Abby. She doesn't want to be violent with everybody else, but she is she's using the tools that she was taught and she knows, regardless of whether or not she wants to do it. She's falling into those traps. And even in the game, everything that she does up until the point where she reunites or she runs across Abby again is mentally fucking her up. And I feel like they're actually the show's doing a good job of representing that. And it's kind of weird that people are, making it seem like that's not what Ellie does. Was like, no, like Ellie freaks the fuck out. Like, she will disassociate and she will get all shaky, and like even with Owen and Mel later, like she breaks down.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, she's on this revenge quest. She needs to be. She thinks she's violent because she needs to be violent to get what she wants, but it's not what she wants to be. But she's falling into it, regardless if she wants it or not. So I thought it was just really nice to actually like have that discrepancy between Joel and Ellie, like on display, whether you kind of clue into it or not. But like you said, probably not to compare the two, but like I feel like the next episode after that is the closest we get to like the Bill episode of season 1, where it's like a lot is just lighthearted, very good description of like the Ellie flashbacks. I like that we got pretty much like every birthday Ellie had up until recent, but also just the museum. God.
Even before that, we get something new. We get to see Joel and Tommy's dad, and the shit he went through, and he's the cop. And it kind of tracks. Joel and Tommy will be militaristic or join the military or whatever. And Tommy got busted for having pot in the 80s. Big no back then, especially if you're the son of a cop. And so Joel's like, I'll take the heat. I'll have dad beat my ass. And he comes in and he's like, I only have 30 minutes, but like, what's about to happen kind of sort of conversation. And he's like, you don't do that to Tommy. And then this gives their dad a reflection like, I was beat worse then what I do to you guys. I am not good. It's not good. But like they literally said his dad or grandpa fucking broke his jaw and he couldn't like talk for a long time. And he's like, at least I'm not that piece of shit. It's better. Not by much, but it's still better. And I just like it's an interesting cycle of violence, which is this whole game and series show adaptation. It's just a cycle of violence continuing.
When you have a kid of your own, I hope you can do a little bit better than me.
Yeah, it's so interesting and the dynamic, and it just explains also like where Tommy and Joel are coming from, why the way they are, and the actor Tony Dalton, he's great. We've seen him in Hawkeye, seen him in Daredevil. He's in Better Call Saul. He's a great villain in that. I can't wait to see him do work in the new game they're doing too. But he made such an impression in those 5 fucking minutes or whatever. And he's like, he goes back to work, and then it just leads into like, yes, Joel taking care of Ellie. We don't ever see him hit her, and I think he never would. Same with his daughter Sarah, right? He was trying to be a really good father to both daughters. Better father than his father was to him. And he's making the guitars for her. And straight from the game, they go to the museum with the dinosaurs, the Apollo 15 module, or the table of Apollo 11 taking off and shit. And it's a cute moment. It's a great moment. And they even had like in the after show, they showed like they had the right rig to show like she's going through space, and I was like, oh, that's so cute. And it's really cute in the game too. And we don't really get it in the show, I'll say that, where she's like kind of fascinated with space and outer space and stuff. There's like trading cards, but we could just see the delight she has. Like this really means a lot to her, and Joel went out of his way to make her have a good time. And of course the party has to end, right? Which we get another fascinating sequence. We've heard about Eugene in the game a little, right? But in the show, they kind of talk about it a little more, I feel, or maybe because it's more in recent memory. And what happens to Eugene finally, like, I don't know if in the game. Well, go ahead, Brian. Actually, before I continue.
Well, no, I just wanted to kind of tee you up for this, but like, yeah, in the game, we just hear Dina and Ellie talk about him a little bit. All we know is that he used to be on a scouting party. He's passed away at some point. They find some of his old stuff. That's about it. Where here, it's like they make a whole brand new character. Colleen?
Gail.
Gail. Sorry. Wow, I don't even know how I got the Colleen. I don't know why. But like a whole new character, and like one of the first things that she says is like, I will never, to Joel, I will never forgive you for what you did to you for killing Eugene. It's like, what the fuck's that about? It's like, that's whole new information. Well, this is what happens.
Yeah, and it's like, and we don't know what it did. Was he like, did he become a raider? And of course we all kind of suspected, maybe he was like a cordyceps or whatever. Or did he make a bad call? Was it like a Seth situation, right? Where he's being an asshole and he just escalated and it's like, nope, we kill him. And it's like, we find out like they go, they're on patrol. It's Ellie's first patrol. Joel promised we would do it. It's supposed to be easy. Nothing in this world is easy, especially the Last of Us world. They go check on Eugene and his partner. Partner's dead. Eugene and them encountered some clickers or whatever. Eugene is not looking so good. And it goes back kind of like Jesse. Joel says, this is for our people. We need to protect our own. Sorry, Eugene, I have to kill you. And Ellie, being, a good person, bleeding heart, is like, we should, at the very least, bring him back to say goodbye, right? He doesn't have much, but we could maybe spend that time doing that. But they change so fast in this game and in the show. And I think Ellie doesn't realize how fast they change, but Joel has seen it. He knows it's going to be quick. And, the actor Joe Pantoliano did a great job too. He's been in other things. But he brought this performance like, come on, man, let me just see my wife before I go, if anything, right? Let me, like maybe he should. Joel's like, no, you should not. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'll just relay the message. And the kicker here is Ellie kind of knew Joel's lying when he cleared out the Firefly place, right? But she for sure confirms it with the same like lie he used when he lied to her then about killing all those people for her, and then here when he's going to kill Eugene. And for some context before that, Ellie was ready to talk about it with Joel too. Like she was kind of like
she was planning a conversation.
Yeah, she had notes. She's going to do it. She had the questions, and then it's like, well, shit, it's here. And of course, Joel does the thing he needs to do because he's a leader, and what for better for worse. And he sends her away, and then he talks to Eugene. He's like, but it's, there's a beautiful horizon. Talks to him there, and they're talking, and he breaks the promise to Ellie, like, we'll try to bring him back. And, we don't hear the gunshot, but it's pretty evident, birds fly away, nice horizon and background. And yeah, and they bring him back. And the interesting part is, Joel's lying to Gale, and Ellie's no, he's lying. She just and of course, Gale doesn't like that at all, but at least she has the truth. And, Joel's kind of like dumbfounded, like, what the fuck?
It's like, what happened?
Like, you're supposed to be on my side, but also like, Ellie's kind of right too. This is the part where there are two right things, right? But which one is the better right? Perspective, right? It's Joel's still doing the right thing. He's protecting his people, and essentially he's gonna kill someone who's about to become an enemy. It's like literally like we see it. It's like happening. Like his eyes change colors. Like, oh shit! And
like he's looking worse by the minute.
Yeah, or by the second. By the time we see that last shot, right? It's like, oh shit! And then and Ellie's like trying to be objectively good, right? Like the truth, right? Which,
yeah. But like, give or take what you feel, right? Because in the game, like, this is replacing what happens in the game where Ellie just kind of goes off back to Salt Lake City, explores like the Firefly facility, the abandoned one, and then like finds a tape that explains what happened.
I think it's
I think it's Mel who does it.
The lady who, oh shit, I see my connection's dropping. You hear? I forgot the lady. Yeah, I just saw it drop.
It was Mel.
Was it Mel?
I believe
it was
Mel.
The name of the other Firefly lady that he kills in the game. That's what I'm talking about. She finds the audio. What's her name? I gotta look it up.
I think Marlene.
Go ahead, Brian.
Because Marlene was like the head person, but I believe Mel left the tape because Marlene's dead. So she can't leave the tape.
I think maybe it was like an old recording. Maybe it's both. Anyway, continue. It doesn't matter.
Well, either way. But like, what an interesting way to kind of replace that with, I feel like, something that's a little bit more feasible, because even though it would have been truer to the game, I don't know how I feel of just like Ellie running off to Seattle, or not Seattle, to Salt Lake City, and then have that whole thing again. It's like it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because Ellie, it shows throughout the episode, Ellie has inklings that what happened there is not true. Like what Joel told her was not true. And so what does she do? She makes Joel swear to promise that he's not going to kill Eugene. Because Joel gives her the same exact answer he gave her at the end of last season when she asked him if, what he said was true about the Fireflies. And it's the same exact answer, same exact look in his eye. And it's like, all right, I'm going to go get the horse. And basically this is going to prove whether or not you lie to me. Yeah. And what happens? He lies. He knows he's going to off Eugene. He's not going to bring him back, at least not alive.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a very, very good way to utilize the different take on this. And I know some people um, are kind of upset that like Ellie wouldn't call out Joel like that. And it's like, well, under most circumstances, probably not. But like, this is at the point where like their relationship is strained the most, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
Ellie does not trust in Joel anymore. Like her trust is broken. Like
Mm-hmm.
she is pr- the most hurt at this point because of Joel.
Mm-hmm.
So who's to say whether or not she would call him out on that? Like that's not for me to say. But after that, we get something I didn't expect we were going to get because they end up doing the porch scene,
Yeah.
which I was very surprised by. Because for people that don't know, the porch scene that happens in episode 6 in the game doesn't happen until the end of the game.
Yep.
It is the last bit of information you get in the game. Now, what's interesting is that they also kind of tied in bits and pieces of the part where Ellie goes back to Salt Lake City and then Joel ends up confessing
Yeah.
of what actually happened. And so it's kind of like an amalgamation of both, but it's, for all intents and purposes, is the porch scene. Let me ask you this, Joel, because I know this is a hot button topic. Do you feel that having the porch scene now lessens the impact of the story going forward?
No, not at all. I
Neither do
think.
I. Okay.
I think. I mean, it's knowing also because Pedro Pascal's fucking busy. They had to do that scene now, but also it's a flashback episode. How else do you top off a flashback with like the one of the most important ones in the game, right? And showing where Ellie is coming from. She's willing to grow and learn from Joel still. She's pretty pissed. But it's a good ending to the flashback. And yeah, it just make it honestly flows really well. It makes a lot of sense with all the context, with what happens at the party, everything they've been going through. And again, back to what he was saying, like, I hope you do better when you have kids, right? Going back to what his dad said. So it just all connects really well.
And this is why I would kind of like to ask people like Chris, or like people that don't know anything about the game and see how they feel. Because I feel like for us, it's, for me at least, it's harder to critique that decision because I already know why Ellie's doing this. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not surprising to me why she's doing this. And like, so to have this here, like legitimately, I listened to the podcast for the episode today, and legit, the reason is that they didn't know if they wanted to wait until the end of the series, because who knows when that's gonna fucking be. So
It's
to
true.
wait that long for that piece of information, would it give the same impact as it did in the game? I don't know. Does it lessen it to people that didn't know? I don't think so, because it was the story. The story will still take place of Ellie was gonna make things right with Joel, or at least try to make things right with Joel, but that opportunity gets taken away, and she wants revenge, and is driving her to do what she's doing. It doesn't change that at all. I think it is interesting though that this minor differences that we get between Joel and Ellie in the show versus the game is that Joel in the game is, I don't want to say more closed off or more like rugged and rough, but the version of Joel we have in the show is a little bit more like
I'd say
when
open.
when push comes to shove, like if it gets to that point, he is willing to open up a little bit. And I think it did a lot for the scene because
Yeah.
the part where he's like, if I had the opportunity to do it again, and it's like, I'd still do the same exact thing. And then Ellie's like, it's because you're selfish. And he's like, no, because I love you. And that's something we never got in the game. Like we knew that was the case in the game, but we never got that we never got Joel outright saying it, you know? So it just felt like a nice little, just like, yes, yes, that's exactly why. That's exactly why. And it's like they both finally like open all the air up. There was nothing like left unsaid, which is nice, but it also makes it way more tragic because, like I said, that opportunity gets lost. I will say though, there is the commotion about having the truth come out, and then Ellie saying that she would like to try to forgive Joel in the same scene feels a little bit rushed. Well, I don't have a problem with it. I do kind of agree. And I actually heard an interesting take where it might have been better to have Joel confess during the Eugene portion of the episode, or it's like Ellie calls him out on lying. You know, that still happens. Ellie walks away, but then Joel, you know, goes after Ellie, and like they have an argument, and then basically tells him, it's like, hey, you need to tell me the truth now. It's like I could see that working as well. It's like I'm not too like I'm not harping on like what we got, but I could see that also working. I don't know. What do you think?
Interesting. That's an interesting comment. I like what we got, and I don't see it fitting anywhere else other than the end. You know,
Yeah.
I maybe I just to me it just flowed so well. But again, yeah, like I can agree that it's being rushed, but yeah, they only got 7 episodes too. So
Which is weird because it's like two less than
yeah,
the first season.
so I don't know what you're doing, HBO, but also like it works too from what happens next. Like it's
for
a
sure.
good segue.
Yeah.
Like another episode, we could have fleshed out a couple more things, but at that point, it almost becomes filler because we got so many big story points too, and I think they didn't want to risk the shift not hitting. You know, they want to end the shift with like a kind of like semi cliffhanger. You know what I mean? And
For
not
sure.
an episode in. They want a whole season ready to go. So.
Oh yeah. And plus, like episode 7's meaty enough already. Like it's, I think
so
the longest episode, or if not one of the longest episodes of the season. So it's like they managed to put a lot of stuff into the last one, which I guess we can get into right now because you brought this up a little bit when we were talking about like the characterizations of like Dina and Jesse, but we open up with Ellie coming back to the theater and literally just tells Dina all the information.
Yeah.
Way more information that the video game Dina ever got.
I don't even know if Dina knows what Joel did.
I don't think she was ever told. At least not directly.
Yeah.
What'd you think about the shift that Dina takes from a few episodes earlier where she was like, yeah, I'm ride or die. We are going to do this thing. We are going to avenge Joel. And then the moment Ellie tells all the information, like Dina's like you can tell Dina's perspective changes a little bit, and it's like, we need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I think she's like, like he literally murdered like a whole group of people, and this is why they're like, it makes more sense. She thought it's just they're kind of like fucked up people. We're going after them, not like, oh, this is a revenge train that has like gone off the rails, you
The
know? And
wheels
she's
turning.
like, oh, but yeah, like this wheel, I'm gonna get caught in the wheel. We gotta go, you know? And I think it's gonna really affect like later, like we'll probably get a little more pushback. Like, why are you doing this, Ellie? Like, it's like, do we like it's like they kind of said at the end of the episode, like the producers, showrunners, like the are we gonna who's gonna break the wheel of revenge? Spinning. So
Yeah. And it's just like the process, like, I don't know if it's just me, but like we get to see Ellie just kind of fully get into like her own thing. Cause like this episode does a good job of showing everybody's like different takes on like what's happening right now. Cause like majorly we see Ellie and Jesse, going
yeah.
one after another. It's like, hey, it's like our thought processes and our ways of thinking are not in sync, and they just like keep butting heads. But then it's like you also see Dina. It's like, hey, it's like we need to find Tommy. We need to get the fuck out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like this episode really like makes me like feel even worse for Jesse. Like I already felt bad for Jesse before, but like the Jesse we have here, it just makes it even more tragic to what happens to him at the end of the episode.
Yeah, because he doesn't find out Dina's pregnant in the game. He kind of figures it out. He already still has feelings for her, and when he's gonna, have her take a drink to kind of like get her through the pain, she's like, "Oh, I don't want to drink," and he's like, "Oh," and then he
Like,
the gears start turning, and then he, of course, he talks to Ellie about it, and then she confirms it. Whoopsies, right? She kind of was like, it's kind of like they both stumble on it. It's kind of cute and funny. But yeah, and then we get even more with Jesse. Like there was other people before Dina, he wanted to roll with this girl. He wanted to be with her, but he chose his community over a new community, and it's just like people are important, but you got to choose to do the right thing, for everyone else, which makes like, damn, Jesse's really a leader, or he was, it's important. And I think he's trying to help Ellie get there too, but
oh, of course,
not gonna happen anymore.
Because that's what he's been trying to do the whole time. Like, because like, even though he voted no in like the council meeting, like he was the one that like told her, it's like, you need to write everything down. Do not use your feelings and emotions in this. You need to be level headed for anyone to believe in you, kind of thing. But yeah, like Jesse, he is right in what he says is like I have to worry about my community. And then Ellie's like, I don't have a community. Like Joel was my community. Both of those statements are true. But the difference is that Jesse is thinking about everybody else. Because like, what is it? The people of Jackson, like Ellie and Dina, the kid that is going to be his. It's like he is worried about all of those things, and it's like, hey, I need to make sure I survive, and that gets you guys out of here, because there's a whole bunch of people writing on the fact that I will be alive. Because because he even points out, if he did go with those people to Mexico or New Mexico,
wouldn't have been there to save Ellie,
He
which
wouldn't
I
have
thought
been
was
there.
a nice little point. It's like, oh well, I'm here
Yeah.
for a reason, right?
And what was the thing that echoed from season 1 that Tess told Ellie? It's like, you might be immune, but you're not immune from being torn apart.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, so it's like I said before, it's like both statements aren't untrue. It's just one of them is more selfish than the other, regardless
yep.
of your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And is everything cut and dry? Like, is Jesse 100% in the right? No. Because, yeah, like, they did let that kid die, regardless if he was a Seraphite or
Yeah.
whatever. That kid is being dragged off to be tortured and probably killed. But that doesn't change the fact that Jesse needs to think about all these other people that rely on him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas Ellie is only thinking about, I need to get Abby. I need to get my
Mm-hmm.
revenge, no
Yeah.
matter what. And so that it's like the interesting
Mm-hmm.
dichotomy that we kind of don't get, that we don't really get in the game.
We do, however, get this scene that they leave together. Dina's gonna chill and recover, and they're gonna split off. We kind of get this. It's not as like much of a headbutting though in the show, which I like. But it's like we're gonna split off. Like they're like, I'm gonna do this. It's like, and Jesse kind of knows in the game. It's like, yeah, you're going for revenge, but I need to do this. I need to help Tommy, And it's a little more like there's more pushback, and Jesse's like,
How do we even
fine,
know it's
like
Tommy? It's like,
right, exactly.
it's like, what?
But still, like, we know it's Tommy kicking ass, and I know what's happening at that scene with all those sniper shots. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, it's interesting. And then what's really cool, she's gonna do the secret thing. She's gonna try to get to, Nora said the wheel. She's talking about the Ferris wheel near the aquarium to kind of get
Whale
to
wheel.
Abby. Yeah, but what's cool is, well, one part is we see kind of Isaac preparing. He's like, he's gonna lead an assault that night on their island, which we kind of heard about when we see like, oh shit, the Seraphites refuge where they go. And Ellie's kind of watching from the side, and which I thought was interesting. And then they just head out. I was like, oh shit, we're seeing it happen in real time, which we just, it goes back and forth in the game. It's like, oh shit, it's happening. And then we get it's like, oh, there she goes, she's getting on the boat, she's gonna get fucked up.
Here comes
But
that
what's
big
cool is
tidal
she does
wave.
get fucked up. Yeah, but she swims to the Ferris wheel. But for this was cool. She ends up on Seraphite Island. That's not in the game at all. So that was cool. I was like,
So-
what's happening? So that was pretty sick.
So, a little like fun fact. So apparently, that whole little sequence of Ellie washing up on the part of the island where the Seraphites are, apparently they were gonna put into the game, but they cut it out because it didn't fit. And I think this is where I'm going to diverge with you a little bit, because I do kind of agree that maybe this part should have just been left out. Like, it's interesting to see that
Yeah.
in the context of the TV show, it is interesting that Ellie is literally at that moment in time the closest she's ever been up to that point to be where Abby is,
Yeah.
and immediately goes away from that.
Yeah.
But also at
But
the same
know.
time, she is about to die.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, it's not bad. It's not a bad scene. For me, I just kind of, besides
see that.
just putting like a moment in time onto the story of like where everybody is, which I'm sure that in the next season or whenever this situation happens on Abby's side will be like, oh, this is when this happens kind of a moment.
Yeah.
I personally didn't see how this really needed to be there. like I said, I'm not mad that it's there. I just like it kind of didn't need to be a thing because
Especially with her just kind of leaving, like, okay, bye, bye. Like, I could see that. It's kind of going away. I think it's just a neat little nugget for us, though.
it's a neat little nugget just to see like what's happening at that exact moment in time. Because I don't think in the game we really put that together that that's happening. Like Ellie going to the aquarium and Abby doing all the things at the Seraphite camp. I mean,
Yeah.
spoilers for the game. Is happening at the exact same time. I don't think we
Mm-hmm.
really get that idea. So it was interesting, but overall, for the purpose of Ellie getting to the aquarium, I could have, you know, take it or leave it kind of for me. But regardless, it does show the Seraphites being kind of like any outsider is sentenced to death,
Yeah.
and like they're not
Even at a young
fucking
age, we had the kid. The kid was like,
oh
"Yeah, thumbs down, kill her."
oh
Like, oh yeah, I'm on board. Kill her, mom.
like
I forgot to mention. Oh yeah, go ahead. Then I'll bring it up.
no, go for it. I was done.
Oh, oh, fucking about to sneeze. I just thought it was interesting that Isaac, before he led the attack, is talking with Miss Park that like he wants Abby to take over if he goes down, which she was a formidable part of the WLF, but I don't think enough to be a leader. So I just thought that was interesting. They're propping her up that way.
I could see it being like out of a process of elimination, like she would have been like, because at the time she was like super WLF, and it wasn't until
Yeah, yeah,
her going with Lev and his sister
yeah,
like that until that moment, like Abby was like super like WLF. We need to
yeah.
you know take control of Seattle kind of thing. So I
Yeah,
could see it like it's. Could there have been somebody else? Maybe, but Abby is a main character, so
yeah.
sure. One little tidbit as we're getting into the aquarium. One thing noticeably missing was a certain dog,
Oh yeah, Alice. Alice.
Alice.
Spoiler alert: in the game, you fucking kill Alice, and I hated it. We
It
don't
was
kill
very
Alice. I'm like,
sad.
okay, I could live with this. I could.
Alice
I
does
could
not
live with not
exist,
killing.
at least not right now. And it's funny
Yeah.
because Craig Mason was talking. I believe it was Craig Mason that was talking. It was like, it's
Yeah.
like, man, I already had to film somebody killing a dog in Chernobyl. I don't need to do it again. We could leave
Yeah.
Alice alone this time.
Yeah. Alice could live, or be a hero trying to save someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, and then the aquarium sequence was pretty wild. It's still, true to the game. She does kill Owen. Mel's there, still hella pregnant. But it was interesting seeing, like, I feel like in the game, Ellie was remorseful, but not as much in the show. I think it doesn't hit her the price of like all this revenge questing as much in the show, but maybe because it's more recent
So
in my mind.
so it's a little just because I kind of like reference what happens in the game just to kind of prepare for this episode. Um, so the sequence of events that happens in the game is a little bit similar. Like Owen tries to like get one up on Ellie. Ellie's like, "No, fuck you,"
Yeah.
killed,
Yeah.
and then Mel tries to sneak up behind her and stab Ellie. Because if you remember, there's that sequence where like Mel's like knife to the
Oh yeah,
face, and then it forces Ellie to self defense. But
yeah.
in the game, she doesn't know that Mel's pregnant
It's true.
until she starts looting them, right?
Yeah.
And then that's when Ellie has the mental breakdown. Here, it is a little different. Owen is still an asshole. He still tries to
Yeah.
be the one to trick Ellie, but like it was very obvious. It's very obvious that in the show there seemed like they're portraying Mel to be the one that is like, I'm just a medic. I'm here to help people.
Mm-hmm.
It just so happens I am in the WLF and like, you know, everything that's kind of happened. Like even in the episode 2, like Mel is just like, oh fuck, this is happening. You know, Joel's here. Oh
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
There's like, and she was like, can I at least just knock out, you know, Dina and stuff like that. Like trying to like
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like try to be reasonable in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's great because Mel is kind of a weird character in the game.
Yeah.
Because if you're like that far along in your pregnancy, or if you're just pregnant in general, why the fuck would you try to like attack somebody that is obviously very willing to kill people?
I don't know. Maybe she thought she could protect her and her baby before Ellie could do anything. Maybe that's
But like,
the things people do to save their kids or future kids. I don't know.
but it was just kind of like the idea of like Ellie made it aware that she was not going to kill them or not hurt them as long as they told her what she needed to know. Which I mean,
Yeah.
you can give or take what that would be, but like you can tell from Nora, it's like Nora told her to go fuck herself, and she kept banging away. But
Yeah.
I think the way they did it in the show is very interesting, and I think it makes it a lot more tragic.
Yeah.
And a lot more intense because, you know, Owen's still an asshole. He gets shot, you know, whatever. You know, that's same. But the difference of having the bullet go through Owen and basically graze her neck, cutting open her artery, and it's like, and then having the scene of like Mel like, okay, you need to help me. You need to get my baby out of me. And then
that was wild.
And it's very obvious, like Ellie did not want to do that. Like Ellie was focused on Owen. She did not want to, you know, attack Mel. And so she's like all frantic. It's like, I don't know what to do. And it's very sad because like Mel's like, okay, I have like 30 seconds. I have like 30 seconds to try to guide you through this process. And Ellie's just like, I don't know. And it's like just,
and then she uses a medical term, and Ellie's like, "What the fuck does that mean?" And then she's just fading. And it's wow.
And I think it does a better way to kind of have parallels because Ellie understands that, like, you know, with Dina being pregnant, and it's like, okay, we need to keep her safe. But then knowing that she inadvertently killed another, you know, expecting mother when she did not mean to. Like she had the killing intent for Owen, but it was not aimed at Mel. But it's because that she was, you know, was all like in the moment, gun ho, ready to go. She didn't realize like, oh shit, my actions have consequences. Now, that's not to say Owen would have still pulled that gun out. That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother thing because he probably would have still done that because he's a fucking dick.
Oh yeah,
but it's
dumbass too.
But I think it's a more interesting way to go about that situation. Like, but both are still very impactful, regardless of which version that you look for. But it's like this one for sure. For this Ellie, like rocks her to her core.
Yeah, and just the civilian literally caught in the crossfire. Like she,
I really do hope that when we see the next season with Abby, that they continue this development with Mel, because Mel, kind of like a lot of the other characters in the game, she was like a nothing character. Like she kind of just argued with Owen a lot. And then, like, when that whole situation happened, didn't like Abby. literally was having an argument with Owen about Abby before Ellie comes in the game, like 100%.
Mhm.
And then like tries to like stab Ellie when it's like, okay, you weren't even like a target at that point. Like Owen was, because he was trying to get
Owen?
one up. It was like he was being Owen, but like Mel at that point was not a target. She made herself a target by trying to kill Ellie, and then forcing Ellie to stab her, and then finding out she was pregnant. Where here it's just like, I didn't mean to do that, and then
Yeah.
you get that whole mental break.
Yeah. And she did a great job with that. Yeah, that whole sequence, I was just like, fuck, this is how
It's
do they
heavy.
fucking make it worse? God damn it. Like this is, it already feels bad. And it's like, hey, I have an idea. Let's make it worse. Yeah, it's a fucking
Let's try to
ride.
guide Ellie through a C-section.
Yeah. And you know, Jesse and Tommy find her and they bring her back, and you know, and it's it's gonna happen. You know, we know from playing the game, like it's like minutes. It's like Jesse's dead. Jesse's dead.
Oh.
You know, goodbye, Jesse.
The clock ticked down from that moment. But no, I just wanted to give props. God, I feel bad the actor who plays Tommy, but like the facial storytelling, like he is so good at that, because like when they come in and get Ellie, it's like there's that moment where Tommy looks over at Mel and he's just like, oh, like you could tell that he didn't say a word, but you could tell the look on his face is just like,
Yeah.
oh no. Like he knows that this is gonna fuck up Ellie forever.
Gabriel Luna is his name, by the way.
Gabriel Luna, thank you. But yeah,
he's
great job.
He's doing a great job. Yeah. Man, and it's gonna set up something so maddening later too.
Oh my god, we're gonna let's get ready for that heel turn real quick.
I know. If you don't know, you'll know now. But yeah, and then I know I said it's the clock is ticking because we know what happens next. At least us two. It's just Jesse and Ellie have their moment. Tommy's like, you did what you have to do. We take care of our own kind of situation. And it's just interesting. I do like this. He's like, you might have to choose forgiveness and peace, which will make that heel turn so fucking maddening as well. But I like that. The conversation about the wheel, like who's going to keep the wheel of violence spinning? Who's going to break the wheel and choose forgiveness? And maybe it will, maybe it won't, but I'm pretty damn sure what they're going to choose, right? It's going to happen. And, Ellie and Jesse have their nice moment again, which is cool. He's like, we bumped heads earlier, but I know you'd burn the world for me, which I liked. It's like, this is great. We're getting more about Jesse.
Exactly. I think this is another example of how this version has more weight than the game one.
Yeah. And
because we have that depth of character.
Yeah. It's just well done. And the gunshot rings out. We see Jesse running, and in the game, it's literally just like that.
Salute to our boy.
Right? It's literally that fast. It's like, boom, he's dead. I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, what the fuck?
Like didn't even step 2 feet into the door and just
boom
down.
And this one, it's very like boom, he's down. In the game, they kind of milk it. He's like boom, and then he just plops.
Although they stick that camera on him for a good few seconds, though. Make sure you know that he's fucking gone.
It's a same head placement. Shout out to young man Zeno. You killed it. And you died. But yeah, you did great. I hope we see more of him. He was great in Beef. And I was so happy they cast him in this. But yeah, and then we get it. Abby's there. This is what Ellie wanted, right? And the price of revenge has come back. She just killed Jesse. She's trying to, she's seen the trail that, we're going to see later of violence that Ellie has left behind. She's coming for Ellie. She has Tommy on the ground ready to fuck him up. And, it kind of just still stuck with me. It's like, we let you live, right? Not great, but it's like...
Not a great excuse, but it is,
It's true. but
It's
also at the same
true.
time that it's what Tommy was just saying, that the wheel of violence, the wheel, who's gonna break the wheel, and it's like, damn, this is a tense moment, and I was like, they're gonna fucking do it, aren't they? And of course they do the cut, they hear the gunshot, right? Because I was like, no, just like in the game, we hear a gunshot, boom, fate, the cut to black. I was like, ooh, is it right here? Is it right here? Are we done? I was like, oh man, that would be so fucked up. But of course, we get the flip that we've been talking about. It goes into Abby waking up day one. We see
Day
her at the
one.
WLF base, which I didn't expect we were getting that too either. I thought we were just gonna get her waking up and it's like it's her turn, but we get to see how big the base is. It looks pretty accurate to the
The
game.
entire stadium.
Yeah,
The
I was like,
stadium in
shit, we're
Seattle.
doing it. Yeah, and yeah, Manny wakes her
Yeah.
up. He said Isaac's coming, and she's like, all right. And it's like, boom. She's walking down the hall. It's like, yes. And I was like, that's more than I
Get
thought we were
it.
gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're gonna follow Abby. I was like, ooh, great. And as far as the season finale goes, it was pretty strong, and it for me hit all the points. And even with the new things, I was trying to I wrote down the changes, and we already talked about it, but I just I'm pretty satisfied with what they did. And again, my parents watched the first season. I'm really curious to see what they're gonna say about season two, because they don't play video games at all. So I'm just super. They have no context, and our buddy Chris, he didn't play the games, and he was telling me him and his lady, they were watching it, and they're like, no, he's not dead. He's coming back next episode. They're talking about Joel. I was like, oh, sweet summer child.
I mean, technically, he is coming back in the episode. It's just not going to be in present tense,
right? Yeah. So it just, for everyone else, I'm just like, I know people who love the games. I'm sure they have an opinion, but I am most interested in people who like literally didn't know. Like,
oh, same.
It's like, this game is the Hurts so good game. It's the experience, and I'm still mad about it. The ending of this fucking game, and I'm wondering what they're going to change. I almost thought that for a second because they were building up Jesse so much. Are they going to switch Tommy and Jesse? Because I think they kind of change. Because it's like, oh, we've spent way too much time with Jesse, but at the same time, like it works. It's like, fuck, he's gone, but it was still pretty tragic in the game. But yeah, like they're building up Jesse really well. I was like, fuck. But I mean, true to the game, he's out. Boom. But yeah, it just, man.
Yeah, it's
man, oh man.
Yeah,
did you think it was going to end there, Brian, with the fade to black, or did you think they were going to lead us with Abby, or leave us with Abby?
I honestly did think that it was going to just be the fade to black, like cut, like suspense, like wait until next season, and then as it was going, it's like, okay, this black is like hanging on for a little bit, and then we get that nice little taste of what season 3 is going to be about, and it's going to be Abby Central, which, oh boy, I
know, with her crew too, and seeing them just getting iced bit by bit.
mm-hmm.
Oh man, and some, which is interesting too, because Sarah and I were talking about it. Like, Lev is there. For those who don't know, Lev is going to be Abby's companion. Lev is there at the theater in the game. So I'm wondering if, because they haven't announced who Lev is, or if they did, I missed it. Like, if they're going to just come down the stairs when we get there, or like, are they waiting outside, or do they just totally eliminate Lev and we get something else? I'm really curious.
I feel like once we get back to that point on Abby's side, it's going to be like a expansion of the scene, right? Because like we only get like basically our viewpoint is only like Tommy and Abby from Ellie's perspective, right?
Yeah.
So I can imagine like once we get back to that point, like the scene will expand. You'll have like Lev with and then just basically just kind of like all bets are off, so I think we will see more detail as things start to get filled in more with like Abby's point of view, and then we get the full picture, and then if we do get a season 4, that'll be like the full picture season, whereas 2 and 3 are like,
feel like 4 may be too long, but there's also so much they could explore too. And I think we got spoiled on that note of like a Bill episode. I was expecting a full episode of Eugene, to be honest, and we only got like a good section. I was expecting that again, but maybe we'll get that like a full Lev family episode, because Lev does kind of talk about their family in the game, but that's it. So, or maybe even the I forgot to mention the Seraphite leader. They have another one, which I thought was fascinating. The original one's gone. There's another one. So that, who knows what they're cooking up. It's really cool. Oh, did you notice that when Jesse and Ellie were, they kind of panned out, they showed the connecting buildings with the rafters.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck that shit. If you know, you know.
Hey.
That's all I'm gonna say. Fuck that shit. I was like, nice little game hint.
But no, Joel, you might be onto something. Cause I feel like every season is gonna have like one of those like backstory episodes.
Yeah.
And that might be it. Cause all we know is that they go back to their home, and then when Abby finds them, all hell's broken loose.
This is true. Like
shit goes downhill. So that's gonna be a rough episode if they do it. But it would be like, oh.
Are we gonna get a little you were the chosen one from Isaac to Abby, and they're gonna have a little showdown?
Oh, probably. Because that has to fall apart too.
We don't really get that. She fights some big ass Seraphites and maybe some big WF shoulders. I don't remember if she actually fights Isaac one-on-one in the game. If she does, I totally forgot.
I don't remember either. Like, I'm very hazy on Isaac in general. Yeah. I do know that Abby does go back to WLF, like when she's trying to be more coy and being like, I'm not a traitor.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. So if they want to expand on that, that would be cool.
Yeah. I hope that people aren't fucked up to the actress who plays Abby. I hope they're nice. Oh, Caitlin Dever, that's her name. Please don't be fucked up like you guys were to every actress ever who does this.
Just like make a PSA right now.
Yeah,
because I've seen some fucking dumb fuckery going on the internet. No surprise. But no surprise there. You cannot like the direction of the show. You cannot like the adaptation of the show. You can think that a lot of the writing for the show is bad, but express those with whatever you want to do, but like leave the actors out of it. Because I cannot tell you how many like stupid fucking memes I've seen of people like with Bella Ramsey and like
Facebook is the fucking worst now with that. Jesus,
it's fucking grotesque. Because like no one deserves that, and especially because I know Bella Ramsey's young. I don't know how young.
I think she's like 10 years younger than us. Shit.
But like, I've seen like some fucked up shit, like putting her face on the fucking weird guy from the Goonies and like stuff like that. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing? I thought we were like past this, you know?
She's 21 years old. Fuck. She's a young person. She's so young. But no,
it's like we don't need like it's you know what? And I'm not surprised it's with the female cast.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like it's all this shit with Bella Ramsey and people fucking clowning on her because like, she doesn't the person playing Abby looks more like Ellie than she does. Who gives a fuck? I'm sorry, if what makes or breaks your idea of an adaptation of like a show is based on having the person look exactly the same instead of getting the characterization right, which I know some people don't agree. That's up to them, and that's fine. But like, if you're solely just clowning on it because of how the people look, you're a fucking piece of shit. And like, I can understand that having Abby not be as like muscular in the show, because it is like a defining trait of her like combat skills in the game,
which people hated, by the way.
Which, yeah, exactly. People clowned on her back in 2020. People clowned on Abby because she was too muscular, and now people are clowning on the live action one because she's not muscular enough.
Make up your fucking mind.
Pick a lane.
Pick a lane. Yeah, pick a fucking lane at least.
Both are fine. Calm down.
Dissonance. The mental gymnastics people are going through for this clickbait, hate bait shit is ridiculous. And it's the platforms that feed it too. It's just sad. Like, because if I were to post a fucking mean thing on our fucking TikTok or Facebook, be like, boom, boom, it would do so well. But if hey guys, we just put some hey guys, you want to see us play Avengers for the SNES? 5 people. it's the algorithm is so.
And you know what? Those 5 people are real cool.
Yeah, but it's also, I do have to remind myself, like, the guy who made Facebook did it to like kind of like stalk girls. So it's like,
oh yeah, it was like a college project, a dating website.
Yeah, so maybe it's Facebook's working as intended, and also these other social media sites. But yeah, it's the fact that it's like unescapable. Like, I'm just trying to upload some more videos. It's like, boom, Belle Ramsey, or whatever, or this, Star Wars especially. It's like attacking women. Oh my god!
It's like, I don't see. Well, I mean, it is Pedro, but I don't see anybody talking about that. Talking about Tommy. Talking about Jesse. At least as far as how they look.
Yeah.
But God forbid we have somebody that doesn't want to go through the very health hazardous ways that Hollywood likes to buff up their fucking actors.
Yeah.
And instead they want to make.
Go ahead. I'll go after.
I just want to say, because like, thank God that there are directors and producers nowadays that would rather change up the story just a tiny bit to still have the characterizations of how the characters would act in the world, and not have their actors go through fucking hell just to look shredded. Because God forbid, all the interviews that we've seen over the years of the people, of everybody who's worked on Marvel, like Chris Hemsworth, fucking Chris Evans, like a ton of other people, Hugh Jackman,
and like Holland,
all these people go through fucking hell to look the way they do for those movies, and it's not good for them, not in this one bit. And so I hope, I wish that some people that do this shit online kind of grow the fuck up a little bit, and to even like top it off, it's like, pull out the age of the actors aside, you're talking about characters who are fucking teenagers, dude. Why the fuck are you worried about what teenage characters look like? Reflect on that shit. Get some help.
Stop.
And,
I was trying to say, like, I really hope that they're preparing them now, because it's ridiculous. Like, remember with Moses Ingram and Kenobi, they like, hey, shit's gonna hit the fan. Even fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi himself said, please don't be a piece of shit to my actors. The fucking producer, Ewan McGregor, said, don't be a piece of shit. That's fucking wild. He loves Star Wars so much, he produced something and people are like, nah.
Well, I wonder what life experience would brought up that conclusion. It couldn't be anything from, another Star Wars property that he was involved in with a child actor.
God.
that literally got fucked up because people online couldn't stop being fucking pieces of shit.
I mean, he was going through some mental stress, and yeah, like even Ahmad Best, he's like, he
Exactly.
was about
Yeah.
to fucking end his life because people were tearing him down. It just be fucking kind, people, and also like
It's
again,
just a
back to
show.
Last
It's
of Us.
just
That
entertainment.
too. The hate watching has got to end. Turn it off. Punch fucking grass if you don't like it, and you're missing out. Sorry, it's okay to miss out.
I
It
know.
happens.
I know the views are there for about maybe 2% of the creators that do the fucking hate farming. I guess cool if that's what you're into, but I'm sorry, I don't subscribe to that shit. Like, we don't subscribe to that shit. I can say that very confidently.
I've seen, like, I don't want to compare, but like, we're not, amazing. We're not top tier, but we don't put out hateful content. The times I have seen it where it's like they get their one big hit and it's like, well, like that's it. Like,
Yeah.
that's what you were like. That was it. You're joking. You're done. Like, you're talking all this shit and you only got one thing to show for it. It's just so
Like,
strange.
we've clowned on stuff in the past for good reason.
Yeah, but I'm not fucking saying at Daisy Ridley like, hey, go die. Not that I would. She's cool, but like people are like,
Oh no, yeah.
Kill your, it's like what the fuck? I'm gonna harass Kelly Marie Tran for a fake role in a space movie. What the fuck is this?
I know we're talking about The Last of Us, but like Star Wars fans, we are fucking blessed that most of these actors still show up. Because because like Star Wars Celebration would be fucking boring as fuck if all these actors, like, with their best interest in mind, just stayed the fuck away from Star Wars when they're done with it. Like, we would have nothing. So that's a tangent we can get on maybe another day. Maybe hopefully not, but we probably will.
I think we have, but I'm just be kind, okay? And with
like, you can have your critiques and everything. That's completely fine. Like, if you do not like this show because of the choices they've made, that's perfectly fine. Like, you have your right to think the way you do. But if your only basis is off of how the people look, what the fuck are we doing here? Go play the video game if you're that heartbroken about it.
It won't.
All right.
Anyway, great season.
Great season. Any final thoughts to kind of like end this with like a?
It was good. Good job, Pedro Pascal, getting out early before people get really mad. No, it was good, man. I don't understand the hate, but I when the next parts come up, and I've been pretty good about defending it, but I'm gonna start like diving, not like in a mean way, but it's like it's the hurt's so good, like it kind of like I was like, like that's the part that it's art and it's a medium, right? It's frustrating, and what they're gonna do with making us like Abby is frustrating but good. It's I can't wait, and for people who don't know, I can't wait to see how they react. A strong season. I hope they don't milk it dry like Game of Thrones. I want like 3 or 4 good seasons and done. That's all I want.
Exactly. And we'll see when we get season 2, because I'm sure Pedro Pascal is going to be very busy in Avengers Land. Fantastic Fourville.
Avengers, Mando Land.
And Mando Land. That's also true. So
yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, let us know what you guys thought, what you liked, what you disliked. If you're in the YouTube realm, in the comments below. And yeah, Last of Us season 2 has wrapped. In the meantime, I'm sure there's a lot of other things that we could go in depth with. I know Fantastic Four is right around the corner. Ironheart's also right around the corner as well.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited for that. We haven't talked about that. The trailer looked good. I'm excited.
Yeah. But yeah. Any final statements before we wrap it up here tonight?
Nah, right. we went on our tangents.
We did it.
Yeah.
All right. We appreciate everybody that's came here to hang out with us tonight on the Twitch room and on YouTube. I appreciate you for hanging out, watching this. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And of course, so remember to forever and always keep on nerding.
We're all going down.